Hey friends, this is Prajakta from Pretty Crafty Tales, and this video is for day 9 and day 12 prompts of Junk Journal July. If my voice sounds a little bit different, that is because I have a bit of cold, so I just hope you don't mind this difference in voice. So here I just checked what was the previous prompt that I worked on, and it was the day 8 prompt, and the next one was, of course, day 9 prompt. Uh, but if you remember from my earlier video, I had put together bags for ephemera and paper scraps as per each prompt. So the next bag was for day 9 combined with day 12 prompt, because the prompts were scraps and packaging, which I felt went together and I could find my supplies from my stash for that. So I had packed extras for every prompt in each bag, so I did not end up using all of the supplies here. However, I did have good options for pretty pink color scraps and some hint of yellow. So the part of packaging was that yellow tissue paper which I had got some Happy Mail in, and this piece of receipt. So I had cut out the upper portion where the text was, and the rest was just some pretty pink plain paper which I used for this page. So for this yellow tissue paper, I was thinking, what could I do with it? Maybe make some kind of a rosette or flower. However, I probably did not have that much patience, and I just ended up, folding it this way roughly. And I thought maybe I can just cover the bottom side of this page entirely with this kind of a folded tissue paper. However, I wasn't a big fan of that, so I thought maybe I can just use it like to make a cluster, something like that, and that is why I put this roughly folded tissue paper in this corner. To pull the yellow color on the left side of the page, I used the same tissue paper as background color. I really like this shade of yellow, and it's so subtle yet so pretty. So here I am just picking out some die cuts for this spread, and I also pulled out some other extra supplies which I had separated for Junk Journal July. And from this bunch I used some washi tape, and I also had other die cuts and stamps which I used for this spread. The yellow bow on top is looking good as it is on top of pink color. However, I just felt like it looked a little bit isolated or alone. That is why I just wanted something along with it. So I found this piece of paper and then stuck the bow on top of it. I'm not sure um, if it looks really the best, but yeah, that is just what I could find, and that is just what I did. Then, because the yellow was too plain, I wanted some pattern on top of it. I thought of either using some stamps or maybe some doodling using the Posca marker. I had this really beautiful and perfect shade of pink, which was matching to the pink paper on the other side of the page. So that is why I chose this Posca marker and thought of doodling some flowers with it. because this is the first time I'm using this particular stamp, and I did not have any rough paper handy alongside. I just stamped it first time on another page of this journal, which I'm sure I will be covering it up. So that is why I was not worried about it, as you can see now. Then I continued filling the space with some more doodle flowers, and the calendar which you see on top, the die cut. I really wanted to fill it up with dates, but I'm not sure, either dates or some highlights on each square for each day, or rather 2 or 3 days. But I just wasn't sure about it at this moment, and I haven't done that yet. I might add something later, but I'm not sure. This is just my journal for fun, and there's no pressure. I don't need to worry about it right now. And I would recommend you to do the same thing with your journals. Don't worry about anything, just keep your worries for later. And whenever you feel like doing something more in your journal for a particular spread, you can always come back and do that thing. So here I'm just adding the day number and the prompt name, which I usually do for each spread. I usually also add the date when I did this spread, but I forgot doing that when I was filming the video. So of course I'll do that later. After this, I'm just adding some doodly borders because I felt that the borders or the edges of this page lack something, and that's why I'm just adding some borders. That's the best way to do when you're unable to think of anything else. This cute little box is very old. I bought it years ago when they were like in style, I guess. I mean, they had just come to the market, very new, something different. So I bought a bunch of them, and I stored my craft supplies and a bit of my jewelry in that. And as you can see, the packets which had these small beads, sparkly beads, they are also very old. If you could see, the manufacturing date of these was 2012. I may have bought them around 10 years ago, but I did not end up using them. So I had saved them because they were pretty. I mean, they were little translucent with a bit of shimmer on them, and the colors are really gorgeous. So that is why I had still saved them, and I'm glad I could find a use for it now. I usually feel a little bit lazy to pull out supplies apart from paper, die cut stickers, washi tapes, and sometimes paints. So these kind of 3D supplies I'm a little bit lazy to pull out and think about where to put. But when I'm organizing my supplies, I always miss them. I always feel that, oh, I should have used this thing. I'm sure you have such supplies in your stash, and I would encourage you to pull out one supply at a time and put it to some use. Then I pulled out these two packets of flowers and enamel dots. However, I just ended up using flowers from the left hand side packet, as you can see now. So I just want to tell you that it does take time sometimes to do a particular journal spread, to look at what supplies you have, what would look best. It does take time, but I would just say that don't be afraid of that. Don't feel like sometimes I do feel very stressed out when I think, oh, I have some other task to do after this. Will I be late for that? Will I end up spending too much of energy and time on this one thing? And that is what stops me from giving my best during this creative time. But I would just recommend you take one step at a time. Maybe don't use all of the supplies that you want to use, but maybe just one or two that have been gathering some dust on your shelf. So here is the final spread, and I hope this video inspired you to do something. Hit the like button if you like this video, and leave me a comment below on anything you would want to chat about creative journaling. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.